Hi everyone, my name is Bree. I'm an educator here with Pravana. So wonderful to have all of you on with me today. We'll give a few more minutes for everybody to still hop on. Oh wow, we've got people from everywhere I see in the chat. Chicago, Louisiana, Cali. Well, I'm here in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. So I'm on the other coast. Hopefully everybody is staying warm. I'm very excited for today's classes. It's my second one of the day, so I've been going. Perfect. Let's see. In Pennsylvania. Okay. All right. Well, we can jump right in. I'd like to know a little bit about you guys too, not only where you're from, but how long you've been in the industry. So if you guys also want to drop in the chat, like if you are 2 years in, if you're 10, if you're 20 years in, and if you are familiar or a complete pro when it comes to Pravana. If this is a refresher course or if this is something totally brand new. Give me an idea of kind of where everybody's staying so I know which parts to kind of stay on longer and which ones to breeze through. 21 years. Okay, Miss Brenda. 40. Wow. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So we are going to dive right into it. We're going to go over why you need to be choosing Pravana. We're going to go over our entire portfolio. We'll look at our swatch book, which is my handy dandy notebook I use for everything. And we have our blonding options and our newer care line that just dropped recently. And then we'll wrap up and see if anybody has any questions. If there's something specific that you guys are really looking forward to learning or really want me to um, take a little bit more time on, you can drop that in the chat as we go along, or if you need me to slow down, because I tend to speak a little fast, we can. So I do want to go over our Pravana promise. So here at Pravana, we love to empower everyday stylists by providing them with superior products, unprecedented and unmatched in value, that enhances not only your professional but your personal lives as stylists behind the chair. And moving on, I've got my little PowerPoint here to help me through. One second. Okay, so let's go over our basis of our portfolio and everything that we have. So we have our permanent cream hair color that's going to be our ChromaSilk. Those are going to be the boxes that look like this. If everybody can see that, those are going to be our purple and white boxes with no writing underneath. Just our ChromaSilk cream hair color. That is one of our permanent options. Another permanent option we have is our Vivids Everlasting. This is a permanent color to be mixed with Developer. And we have our ChromaSilk Vivids. It's going to look like this box. This specifically is the Vivid Neons, and the Vivids Originals look like this. So these are the boxes that you want to look for when looking for our Vivids. These are our semi-permanent options, straight out of the tube, no developer needed. And then we have our Demi-Permanent options. We have three, and that is going to be our ChromaSilk HydraGloss. It's going to look like this. If everybody can see that, the light shining on it. These are our beautiful blue boxes. One of our demi-permanent options. We have our ChromaSilk Express tones and our ChromaSilk Platinum toners. So our demi-permanent options, what's unique about those is that all three of them are to be mixed with our Zero Lift developer. We'll come back to that when I get to the demi-permanent option side. Part of our collection here. We have three blonding options for lighteners. We have our Pure Light Ultra Lightener and our Pure Light Blonding Cream, as well as our Pure Light Power Lightener. And we will go into the nitty-gritty of what all of those mean and do towards the end. We have our developers, 0, 10, 20, 30, and 40. And of course, our new care line, which I'll grab some of those too for you guys to see. If you haven't checked those out, you really need to. So that is our little arsenal. I'm going to show this to the screen. You guys let me know if you can see this from my phone, but we're going to talk about Pravana perks. Can everybody drop in the chat if they are registered, if they've heard about it, and if you haven't been registered, see if you can scan that QR code. Sam, I don't know if that's a good idea or if we should just have that linked maybe.
I'm going to drop it in the chat for everybody.
Perfect. Okay. I didn't know if they could scan it that way. So Pravana perks, if you haven't heard about it, Yes, registered. Awesome, Liz. Perfect. So if you are already shopping at one of our retailers, like SalonCentric or Cosmoprof is what I have locally, you're already getting those, you're already spending the money on that, and you get points with Pravana perks that you can redeem for cool things like a swatch book, aprons, color bowls, color brushes, things like that. There's a whole plethora of other things on there. That's just what I mainly use for me in my salon because I feel like we constantly go through those things. So definitely get registered for that. If you're already spending the money and buying these things quarterly, then you might as well redeem them for other things to be beneficial in the salon. Okay, let's get into our permanent hair color series. Just a moment. Am I moving at a good pace for everybody? How are we feeling? We're going to start with this. So our ChromaSilk cream hair color. Again, it's in these purple and white boxes, and the labels look like this. This one is a 4.66 or 4RR. And these are mixed at a 1 to 1.5 ratio. One part of your ChromaSilk cream hair color to 1.5 parts of your chosen developer. And that can be any of our developers here. We do say 10, 20, 30, and 40. And we have these little things here where it tells you all the information you need to know about the color. So what's to the left of the decimal is your level. So here it is a level 4. And after the decimal, whatever number or letter is after is going to be your tone. So with this one specifically, there's 2 6s. So this is a double pigment. So that's 200% of the tone is here. So it's a level 4 double pigment red being 200% of the tone. Now, if we have, let's say, our natural series and it's a 5N, then it's just a level 5 natural. Or 5NT or 6NT is going to be our level 6 neutral. Now, if it's only one letter or one number after, like this one is a 7.4 or 7C, that is 100% of the tone, not an intense tone like this. So double numbers, double letters, going to be double pigment, that's going to be more intense. This one is going to be just 100% of that pigment. So 7.4 is 100% copper. Now, with that being said, this one is a 6.37, so this is a level 6 gold violet. Now, this is a blended result. This is a blended tone. So our first number is 70% of the tone. So it's 70% gold, 30% violet. Right through there. Can everybody see that? I feel like my camera is kind of blurry a little bit. So this is a blended result. This is one of our like chocolate series. It gives a really nice, rich brunette tone. And anytime that you see the two numbers after, if the first number and second number are not the same, that's going to be the 70-30 split. How does everybody feel with that? Do you need me to harp on that any longer? Are we feeling good? Drop a heart, thumbs up. Feeling good? Okay. Then moving along with our other permanent option is going to be our ChromaSilk VIVIDS Everlasting. There are just a few shades in that option compared to our big book here that has all of the colors in it. But our Vivids Everlasting is also mixed at a 1 part Vivids Everlasting to 1.5 parts of your chosen developer. You can do 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume, and this is a good way to get those fashion-like tones with a permanent result. Let me see if I can show you guys the tones that we have in those. If you haven't been able to play with them yet, I suggest you do. Let's see. So this is our Vivids Everlasting option. I use this one a lot. A little pro tip here. The Enchanted Pink with our 8.3 or level 8 gold equal parts gives such a pretty rose gold vibe that doesn't wash out in just one wash like some pastels may over time. So that is something that I use often, or I'll add the Scarlet Red in with our level 6 double pigment red. So our level 6 RR, I'll add in our Vivids Everlasting Scarlet Red into that formula, and it really gives like a Vivids red like result. So definitely play around with those. They're super awesome. That's one way to use them. Let's see. Now, while we're on the permanent color topic here, I'm going to show you something cool about our color book. Who has had the opportunity to experience our color books? So if you split it right down the middle, one side is our warmer tones and one side is our cooler tones, which is super cool. We're starting here within the just got it, awesome. Starting here with our naturals. So notice our naturals are on this side where the cooler tones are, and our neutrals are here where the warmer tones begin. So does anybody know why that is? Give you a second. So it is because our naturals have a slight blue base, so therefore they're going to be slightly cooler, and then our neutrals are going to have a warm blended base, which is why they're on the warmer side. So this is very good to have. If you don't have one already, make sure you reach out and get one. The 000 at some point and how you would use it. Sam, do we still have the lightning booster, correct? Can't register for PRAVANA perks because there's no option. Okay. Sam, I'll have you get on that for those answers. I don't know directly for the PRAVANA perks, but I'm waiting to confirm that we still do have the lightning booster 000. So that is part of our permanent option too.
We do still have it.
Okay. So the lightning booster is going to give a little more lift than you would get with a traditional the traditional like I guess ammonia content in a permanent color. So if what you would normally get a lift, let's say with a level 5 and 20 or 30 volume, you can get a higher amount of lift with using the lightning booster. Also in our color books, not only do we have all of those beautiful swatches, but we also have all of this information. Now, this tells you exactly where our contributing pigments lie. We can see that. And I believe it's most recently updated to some of our newer launches too. Um, like we have our 0.9, which is our Pearl series or our Smoky series on there as well. So that brings me in to the hair color, number, and tone. Let me move this. And we're going to use our notebook for this too. So just like we were talking with our numbers on the boxes, each number represents a color of our beautiful rainbow. So here we'll start with N is always going to be our natural. Neutral is going to be NT. I'll explain the difference between those two as we get further along. But then we have ash, and that's going to be represented by a number 1. So this is a 0.1. So if you have your level on the left side of the pigment of the decimal, the number to the right is a 0.1. That's going to be an ash. This is going to be a cool green base. We have our intense ash or double pigmented ash, which is going to be a 0.11. Our 0.9 is going to be our smoky series. That's a cool blue base. These are great for creating some really ash tones for gray blending. I really like to use those behind the chair. Our beige series, which is represented by 0.22. Our pearl, that's that silvery pink base that's really reflective. Great for doing overlays and like toning with permanent color if you decide to do that. That is a great option for that. Our chocolate series, which is going to be our cool gold base, which is that 3.7 that I mentioned earlier on that box. Our mahogany, that's going to be represented by a 0.5. This is going to be, think of your traditional style like VR. So this is going to be a more violet red pigment. The sun's popping through, y'all. Thankfully, because we need some light in here. Our 0.7 is going to be our violets. And this is our new dark intense. Has anybody gotten a chance to play with those? Can you see them, especially as soon as that light hits it? Ah, gorgeous. I love the green too. So pretty. I've been really wanting to try the 3BB on my hair for that like blue black look. Okay, and that gets into our toners over here. Let's go to our warmer tones. So again, NT is going to be our neutral. We have our NTLs. This is a neutral low light. So these are pre-blended for pre-pigmenting or repigmenting your hair. If you're taking somebody, say, from a level 10 platinum and they want to add a level 6 low light, instead of having to pre-pigment and add back color into the hair and then rinse it and then do another process, you can use our 6 NTO and they would get that level 6 low light. Point three is, I might need to adjust this. I'm sorry, the sun is shining on here. Point three is going to be our gold. Our copper is going to be represented by point four. That's going to be a straight orange base. Point six is going to be straight red. Our point 45 is going to be our rich coppers, or 45 and point 46. Sorry about that. There's blended ones on here. And then we have our additives, which we have ash green, ash blue, and ash. These are to be added. I'm going to shut this window real quick. Bear with me, guys. Those can be added into permanent hair color. As our additives for correcting or enhancing. So lots and lots and lots of information in this little book. I definitely suggest you get one, look at it, study it, forwards, backwards, left and right. Let's see. 1 second. So we went over how to read our label. Another thing about our labels when we talk about Vivids is on our labels with our Vivid boxes, it tells you the recommended level to lift to. Does everybody already know that? When you look here, the little circle tells you what level this tone is recommended to be applied on. So this is a level 7. So helpful, yes. So this is a level 7 recommended tone lift level. Excuse me. It's been a long day. We recommend to lift to a level 7 to apply the magenta to. This is to get that true, rich, deep magenta tone. Now, this isn't saying that if you lift your client to a level 9 that you can't use magenta, but what you see in the swatch book versus what you'll see on a level 9 hair is going to look a little different. So when you think of a level 9, there's a lot of those yellow pigments, but there's not as much orange. So your magenta is going to go more of a true pink because it doesn't have those warmer undertones. So very, very helpful. It's also on this box, on all of our Vivids boxes for level 10. For our neons, that way you get the most bright pigment and you don't want too much yellow left behind with a neon blue or it's going to give more aquamarine. So very cool things about our labels. Do we need to spend any more time on our permanent hair color series? Does everybody kind of get a good gist of that? I know it's kind of quick. We kind of just run through in the hour that we do have. I was going to go over our naturals versus neutrals. Is that good for everybody? I'm going to kind of explain the difference. Bring this back up. Perfect. Thanks. Thank you for the feedback too, because I'm so used to teaching in-person classes that it's always a little nerve-wracking with the virtual ones because I'm like, where are you guys? What are you feeling? What's clicking? What's not? Okay, so our neutrals versus naturals. Let me pull these out for you all. So our natural series has a slight blue base. Let me see. That's going to be these. And so this is just natural. This is going to be represented by that letter N on our boxes. Now this is going to have equal parts of red, blue, and yellow pigments in it, whereas our blended neutrals, which are these that are slightly warmer, so we can see the difference there. There we go. Cool. With these, with the neutrals, there is more warm pigment in it to help completely neutralize out the blue. So it's actually a true neutralized blended result versus our naturals have a little bit more of that blue pigment to overpower it. We always say blue is bully. Blue is just such a dominant pigment. So if there's 3 equal parts, you would think that that blends that out and neutralizes it, but the blue and the red and the red and yellow, there's not enough of the orange to fight back the blue. So the blue eats that up, and that's why we have a slightly cooler base. And what's cool is that you can actually see that on our color wheel right here, exactly where that lies. I'm going to see if you guys can get close enough to see it. Right here in the middle is going to be our NT, so it's perfectly neutral, but our N sits slightly toward our blue area there. So some good information. That's the difference with our naturals and neutrals. I like to try to go over those with each time that we're going over the permanent series, because I feel like that can be a little confusing at first when you're new to our line. Just adding this back in. Okay, we're gonna go on to our Demi-Permanents. Actually, no, we'll go through developer because our developers go hand in hand with our permanent hair colors. And that information is going to be at the back, I do believe, if it's still in here. Yes, in the front. So we have our zero lift, which is lower than a 10. So this is going to be more of like a, what would you say, Sam? More of like a 1.5, 1.7%, where that sits versus our like 10 is a 3%. Trying to find our little add-in thing that we had here for our developers, but I don't see it. So um, with our 10 volume, that's going to be deposit only. So that's going to be when talking about our permanent hair color. So that's going to be deposit only, no levels of lift. 20 volume, of course, is going to be optimal for gray coverage and up to one level of lift. 30 volume is going to be two levels of lift. 40 is going to be three and higher. Now, again, this is referencing permanent hair color and also if you're using it on virgin hair. So you're not going to get three levels of lift on top of previously colored, right? You see? Is that good for developers, you guys? How are we feeling about that? I feel like that one's a little self-explanatory with how developers work. Um, when it comes to our zero lift, I feel like a lot of people get confused about that. So we'll talk about her for a second. Our zero lift developer, a lot of times people are like, well, if it does zero lift, then why would I use it? I use our zero lift, obviously one for our HydraGloss Express Tones Platinum Toners, but I also use it with our lightener because I feel like it gives me a nice gentle lift, especially if I'm in um, a situation where the client is already naturally light or I'm working near heat zones. That's automatically going to make that lightener work a little bit quicker. So I like to use zero lift for that. When it comes to permanent color, you do want to stick with the 10, 20, 30, and 40, but she does have her place. So don't sleep on the zero lift, especially for lighteners. Which brings me to our lighteners. So we have our Pure Light Power Lightener. That's going to be our up to 7 blue-based lightener. And this one is mixed at a 1 part lightener to 3 parts developer. And this is going to be used with our 0, 10, 20, 30, or 40, and only using 0, 10, or 20 on the scalp. This process is for up to 55 minutes. This is good for our up to 7 levels. You can use this for foil or open air. Next is our Pure Light Ultra, and that is going to be our up to 9 levels of lift. This is also going to process for up to 55 minutes. This one is actually going to be 1 part lightener to 2 parts of your chosen developer. Again, 0, 10, 20, 30, and 40 off scalp, and then 10, 0, 10, and 20 for on the scalp. Now, a pro tip I like to bring up to everybody is how it says processing for up to 55 minutes. We really want to make sure that we're keeping a fresh batch of lightener as we're going. So, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times I'll start with zero lift here, especially when I'm in the back near the nape, near the heat zones. And I'll set a timer on my phone for maybe 35, 40 minutes. So I know when that timer's going off, and most of the time I'm getting towards the end of my bowl. I always mix less so I can just remix rather than throwing some out. As a salon owner, if y'all know, you don't want to be wasting color, especially not lightener. So I'll mix maybe 15 grams of our powder with 30 grams of our developer. I'll get through that section, 35, 40 minutes goes off. I know it's time for me to mix a fresh bowl. So I'm getting complete and even lightening as I go through. Is everybody following? Are you with me on that? Does that make sense? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I like to do that because I feel like it just keeps a good consistency throughout. And yeah, then you know when to remix and you're not wasting. So that is a good one. And then also we have our Pure Light Blonding Cream. This is my go-to for our on the scalp lighteners. More of a gentle, more cream-based lift. This is also an up to 9 level lift. This one is mixed at a 1 part lightener to 2 parts developer as well, like our Pure Light Ultra. And that one also processes for 55 minutes. I do recommend shampooing twice with that one. Um, just because it's a cream base, so you really want to make sure you get all of the residue out. A good one to use after that is from our care line. I would suggest either the new cleanse, the clarifying shampoo, or the Moisture Marvel. I really like how soft it makes the hair. I have a stutter, y'all. If you heard me once, you heard me twice, right? Okay. We went over Pravana perks already, and we're gonna go to our demi-permanent options. So we went through our lighteners. We know how um, all of our lighteners work. Now we're rinsed out and we need to know what to tone with. So we will reach for any of our demi-permanents. And those are going to be these options here. How many of us have started to use HydraGloss and love it? I know I do. I use 1B all the time. 3NT, 7 ABV, all of those are chef's kiss. So we have our HydraGloss. HydraGloss is going to be mixed at a 1 to, sorry. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm having a brain fart. This is going to be mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio with our zero lift. And this is, yes, love HydraGloss. The gel formula, unbeatable, right? I'm so used to many Demis being so drippy, right? And this is so good for precision. So 1-to-1 ratio with this, with our zero lift developer. And all of the boxes, not to be confused, are all the blue ones. Our other demi-permanent options are in those like purpley, silvery kind of boxes. We just added some new colors. We'll go over those real quick. I say just, but concept of time, not for me. I'm like, when was the most recent launch? So here are our HydraGloss colors. I love that we're really starting to get more of an array here. So excited about that. I honestly go through these three guys probably the most often, as well as these two. Those are like my go-tos. Can't keep them in stock, I swear. And also for overlays on coppers that I do permanents on, if I need just a little bit extra punch, love overlaying it with 7CR at the bowl. Now this goes on damp hair, damp or dry. Damp meaning towel dried, making sure that it's not wringing wet. It processes for up to 20 minutes. It is a progressive color, so you don't want to leave it on for too long. Just putting this back in here. Okay. And that brings us to our express tones. Is that good for HydraGloss? Did anybody have any questions on that before I move on to our express tones and our platinum toners? Okay. All right, so we'll start with express tones, and the box looks like this. It's our purple and white one, very similar to our permanent hair color. The labels look like this. There's many tones. There's beige, pearl, ash, clear, and violet. You can see all of these here. Now these are ammonia free as well with being a demi-permanent. You can see our little shades here. And these also go on damp. Now these are quick. These are very, very quick. A way to give yourself more time when applying the express tones. Let's say you're toning for a, bright white platinum, but maybe you found yourself putting violet on and within 2 minutes, the whole back of her head is lavender. And you're like, how am I supposed to put this on my entire girl's head right now when it needs to be rinsed out? We have clear. Now you want to make sure that when you're reaching for the clear that I'm talking about, that it is the ChromaSilk Express Tones clear. that is meant to be mixed with developer, that it is not our Vivids Clear, Dilute, Vivids Clear Pastel. None of those need to be associated with our express tones. So our express tones, adding clear into the formula will give you more time and give you a lighter level of deposit. I'm going to show you guys a little, I guess, picture diagram that I have that kind of shows what I mean by that. I wish I could share my screen on here, but if we can see this, okay. So stay with me. So the three whites, the three little white parts is going to be your clear. So if you have 75% clear in your formula and 25% of your tone, we'll use violet for example. So 25% violet express tones to three parts, no, 25% of your violet to 75% of your clear. It's going to give you a level 10 deposit result and you'll still have enough time to apply it. Also with our, if you want a level 9, then I would do equal parts clear, equal parts violet or your chosen tone. And then for a level 8, that's going to be 1 part clear to 3 parts of your tone. And then if you want the full tone at level 7 deposit, then you would leave that on the entire time of 5 minutes and add no clear. Does anybody need me to pull that back up? Okay, let's see. All right, and then that moves on to, yes. Okay, I forgot about that. Sorry. I'm so used to having all the PowerPoint stuff on my phone. But yes, it is available in your swatch book. So then we go on to our ChromaSilk Platinum Toners. Let me look through here first. Yes, I do see that here between the blonde and the brunette series. So our ChromaSilk Platinum Toners, they're going to be in this lighter box. These are specifically formulated for levels 9 and 10, so for your platinums. And these are going to be mixed at a 1 to 1.5 ratio. It's going to be 1 part of your platinum toner to 1.5 parts of Zero Lift. Now, again, these are formulated for 9s and 10s. So if you apply this to a level 7, a level 8, etc., you're not going to get as much pigment to really truly neutralize out, and you won't get the same result as you would on like a level 9 gold or a level 10, like inside of Banana Fuel Lift. Love our platinum toners. Platinum Sand is that girl. 100%. I'm going to show you guys the swatches on those because they are beautiful. That's what those look like. Nice and sheer, giving very pastel, but they all have their place too when it comes to neutralizing tones. Earlier today in one of my classes, we were doing some swatching, and we found that even on like a true level 10 inside of banana peel, you know, it still has just that slight hint of yellow. It's very light, but it's still present. We use platinum smoke with equal parts platinum lilac, and it completely toned out to just like this perfect smoky gray color, which I do still get that result when using platinum smoke by itself, but it's definitely more of a gray versus a silver leaning kind of color, like very, very smoky, but for like a true iridescent salt kind of color, we did half and half, equal parts platinum lilac, so that was it. I would definitely be using that one. All my students took the swatches home though, so I wish I could show you. Go try it out. Okay, so we went through our permanent series, we went through our demi-permanents. Let's get into our semi-permanents now. My favorite part. Let me move all of this. So everybody hanging in good? Am I talking at a good pace? Everybody keeping up? We're about halfway through. So we have our ChromaSilk Vivids. And you know what? I might just hold this whole box up because, or this whole book up, because it is a lot. We have our originals here. And thank you again for all the feedback, you guys. So we have all of our originals. This is going to be your Roy G. Biv type vibe. All of the colors of the rainbow. We have some of our purples and pinks there. featuring our new all-nighter and tinted. Love that. Obviously, I'm a big fan of blue, and those really completed me. It was like exactly what I needed in my color cabinet. Um, so those are our regular Vivids. Oh, and then we also have these. This is going to be silver, smoky violet. These are going to be more of the smoky tones. We're going to come back to these right here, which is our clear dilute and clear pastel. And we're going to kind of lean on those a little bit because I do tend to get a lot of questions about those. And then we have our neons and pastels. Very Eastery colors into summery spring colors. Um, and most of these need to be a 9 or a 10. All of them need to be at least a 9 or a 10 to get that true vibrancy, that true pastel look. Now, going back to our clear pastel and our clear dilute, has anybody had any questions or concerns when using those? Typically in my classes, a lot of people get confused on what the difference is. Um, so it was a few years ago, I did this virtual video to explain the difference between the clear dilute and clear pastel when it comes to Vivids. And I wish I could just bring it with me all the time, but it's just not feasible in every allotment of time. But if you think of like coffee is your Vivid, so let's say that's your magenta, is just plain black coffee. If you add clear dilute to it into your magenta, think of that as water into coffee. So then that's going to, still fill that cup and just dilute that pigment just a little bit. You're still getting pink. It's not immediately turning it white. It's not lightening the shade, but it's giving more of that translucent kind of vibe. Almost like a jelly kind of color is whatever it looks like. Like it goes from that cream feel into more of like a jelly feel whenever I'm using it in the salon versus your creamer or your um, clear pastel that is going to be that pure white pigment going in and it's going to lighten that black coffee into a creamier color. So it's going to be actually pastelizing um your vivids. So our clear dilute is more like the water, our clear pastel is more like the cream. Is that a good like analogy for everybody? I like that one. Cool. Okay, so we went through our vivids, we went through our permanents, our lighteners. Now let's talk a little bit about our care. Does anybody want to drop in the chat a heart, a thumbs up, maybe a colored heart of which of our new care line that they have loved so far? I cannot get enough of the blue, the Moisture Marvel. Love that. It feels so good on my scalp. It smells amazing. Um, what are you guys liking? The blue hearts, the pink hearts, the green, the pink. What are we thinking? Haven't used. Ah, get your hands on it. Yes. The blue, yes. Moisture Marvel. I think I've been through like three of the leaders already, each. The green, okay. Yes, now that. So I have a 5-year-old, and over the summer, I swear we went through the clear cleanse like crazy because every time we were in the pool, or, she's blonde, so every time that she needed a little refresh with her little blonde strands, it made her hair feel so good. And myself included, everybody needs a good clarifying shampoo every once in a while to just really get everything off. Again, I'm also coastal here at Myrtle Beach, so I have a lot of clients that get hard water or beach buildup, nice chlorine, all those things in their hair. And that clear cleanse just brings it back to that base level and makes everything just feel great again. I like to double shampoo, do the clear cleanse first, and then follow up with the Moisture Marvel or the Repair Radiance, depending. Great for curls too. Yes, it is perfectly moisturizing, and I truly feel like where a lot of products may say like, "Oh, this is made for all types of hair," I truly feel like Moisture Marvel is made for all types. Let's see. And intense therapy is the bomb. Girl, yes, I cannot keep intense therapy on my shelf. I literally bought 6 more of them when I left the store this morning, after my other class. So, all right. So everybody, it seems like we have the most votes for Moisture Marvel. But hey, don't sleep on Repair Radiance because to me, she smells like Sol de Janeiro. She smells really good. She smells very like island girl. All right. So if all of the entire line itself protects up to 30 washes. It is formulated with a shine complex, so you get that immediately shinier result when you're using it. If you guys haven't been able to read the back of the bottle, it is actually inspired a lot by skincare ingredients like hyaluronic acid. And we have designer inspired fragrances, which is probably why I think of Sol de Janeiro when I smell the pink one. It has a rich, luxurious lather that I feel like if you didn't want to double cleanse, you still could get away with it with still feeling clean without stripping the color and without dryness. Let's see. I'm using my little notes here. So we have our Perfect Blonde. This one is an OG to the Care line, but it has been revamped. So we still have our shampoo, conditioner, mask, and our leave-in spray. It's going to be toning and conditioning. It's formulated with purple pigments and soy protein, so it has those optical brighteners that absorb the light and reflect it, keeps it nice and bright of a blonde. It is scented like jasmine and blueberry. It literally smells like the perfect blend of that. Our Perfect Blonde spray is very similar to our Intense Therapy spray, but the only difference is that it is tone purple. So it's great for your blondes that love the benefits of Intense Therapy while having toning properties. And the mask is very softening for when your blondes just need a nice little refresh. Sam, I'll have you answer that one. I don't believe so. Okay, and then our Repair Radiance, the scent is heliotrope and sandalwood. It's formulated with vitamin E. And this one strengthens and seals. It's going to smooth that cuticle down. I like using one of each a lot of the times. Like I'll use Moisture Marvel shampoo with a Repair Radiance conditioner and vice versa. I feel like that gets me really good results just depending on the client and the canvas that I'm working with. But that one is really nice, and I don't feel like it's very heavy. That's something that I really enjoy about it is that it gets that smoothness, that radiance to it without feeling like you're getting greasy or oily the next day. Next, we have our Clear Cleanse. That's the clarifying shampoo I was speaking about earlier. That has a basil and lime scent. It is very refreshing. To me, it gives very much like spa day. So it's a nice rejuvenating kind of scent. Dissolves buildup and demineralizes. Again, really great for somebody that's coastal like myself, with all of my clients coming in with hard water and like chlorine buildup, copper buildup, things like that. And it is formulated with lactic acid, which is great for your scalp health as well. Okay, and then we have the queen, apparently, to all of us, right, is Moisture Marble. This one is going to moisturize and soften the hair luxuriously. It's formulated with hyaluronic acid, and it smells like magnolia and wild nettle. To me, it is a very like clean, just fresh out the shower, like just clean scent. Like you put your lotion on and you smell good, you smell nice. You just feel good after. I don't know. I really like that one. Um, Another thing about the Moisture Marvel is I feel like it has a really good suds to it. Like I'm not having to really work the shampoo in, and I feel like it's very concentrated, so I don't feel like I'm going through a bottle very quickly like I can with some other shampoos. The hyaluronic acid is also very good for your scalp. Um, Next we have our Volume Vibrance. This is going to be a lightweight volume and body. What I like about this one is that traditionally with other volume shampoos that I've used in the past, it almost has that like gritty feel, almost like a texture spray would, but I don't always love that when I'm wanting volume. I want lift with softness and not lift with a bunch of grit because if I wanted that, I'd just add it in with product, you know? So I do really like that this one is really lightweight and still has body and not like stiff, not like a stiff volume. And it's formulated with vitamin B6, so your hair is getting those vitamins that you need. It smells like yellow ginger and herbs too, so it's a very like earthy type scent. So then our intense therapy, which has not changed, confirmed. The intense therapy is the exact same. That is going to be a two-part system, so you want to make sure when you're using this that you shake it up. If you see the separation, it needs to be shaken. It's like a dark blue and light blue on the top. And this is a really hydrating mist. It has UVA and UVB protectors in it. Again, on the beach here, I will tell my clients to spray it directly onto their scalp, and they miraculously don't have sunburn most of the time, which is great. And it also a lot of times, like if they're getting into like a chlorine pool, I'll tell them to completely soak their hair down with the intense therapy, throw it in a braid, and so they're getting like this like mini treatment that has a little like shell almost around it instead of them their dry hair just completely absorbing the chlorine or the salt water, what have you. The scent is vanilla orchid or yeah, orchid and nectarine, and it has amino acids in it, and Bra Brazil nut fatty acids. Didn't That's news to me. I didn't know that one. Um, and it's just super moisturizing without being heavy. Like I said earlier with some of the other products, I feel like you almost can't use too much of it. Like I feel like I can just keep spraying and spraying, and I'm not going to notice that I have a lot of products in my hair. It is my holy grail. I literally sell so many of those each year. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes left. I know that was a breeze. That's a lot of information all at once. But if anybody wants me to go back on some things, we have about 15 minutes that we can kind of chat. We can go over a few different pieces of our arsenal. We can go over the care again, our lighteners, our vivids. Speaking of vivids, we have a new launch coming up. Very stoked about that. Like we just got the new blues. Like we're already getting a new color coming in. Y'all almost got me to say it. I seen that. But I'm very excited for those two new shades to launch. I think we got a sneak peek on our Instagram recently. I think it was this morning that it was posted if you haven't seen them yet. But they're two new shades I'm very excited about. I just got some in recently and I need to swatch them and see what they are all about. Um, did you say that we can add everlasting vivids? Yes, yes, you absolutely could. So, one of the formulas that I mentioned was using our ChromaSilk cream hair color in our level 8 gold and then adding in the enchanted pink, and it makes a really pretty rose gold if you do it at equal parts. Equal parts color, it's always going to be 1 part color to 1.5 parts developer. 9.89p, go over what that is and its meaning. So P is going to be our pearl, and I will show you what that is if I can find it. 1 second. There it is. So our Pearl series is going to be that silvery pink base. If you are familiar with our Express tones, it has a similar undertone of that. So if you ever have toned with our Express tones Pearl, then it has that same reflect to it. Here's our Pearl series. And I apologize for the lighting here. I wish I would have brought my ring light home. So we have all the way from a level 6 to a level 10. These are also great toning options for our 9s and 10s. You can see those there. So 9 specifically is going to be a level 9. Did that make sense of what that is, or maybe rephrase your question if it didn't? I can show you where it sits on the color wheel too. I think that would be beneficial. Yes, the rose gold. Okay, perfect. Just typing that in real quick. Okay. So right, so like Lauren said, and Sam, if you want to chime in on this for like, I know what I would say for stylist to stylist, but for what Pravana's claims are, what we're allowed to kind of recommend and what's recommended on that as far as like toning with the permanent options. Now there is, like Lauren said, always a risk of color shift because of the ammonia in that, but is that something that we still recommend, Sam?
So it won't be a true demi-permanent option if you tone with the zero lift. So we do recommend using the demi-permanent options, which, as Bree said, are the express tones, platinum toners, and HydraGloss. You can definitely get creative and see what works for you as you create with Pravana behind the chair. But that's something that we would recommend using a demi with the zero lift to really get that true toning experience versus permanent color because, like Lauren said, like Bree said, there is ammonia in the permanent color.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't ruffle any feathers there, or give the wrong thing. Like I said, I know stylist to stylist, may answer a little differently, but yeah, I definitely would recommend, especially to just be safest with keeping demi-permanent ammonia-free options so you don't have to worry about the base shifting. Would you use beige instead of ash to neutralize undertones on a level 8? Yeah, level 8. Well, let's see what undertones are exposed with a level 8, which is in our handy dandy notebook. Do any of y'all have kids? Does that make sense as I'm referencing Blue's Clues? Um, so here's our underlying pigment chart. So if you have somebody that is a level 8 naturally, or like they're level 8 after lightning. Yes, on a touch up. So they're level 8 naturally, and you're lightening them or with permanent color. Okay, so level 6 naturally, and you're lifting them to a level 8 with lightener or with color? With color. Okay, so would you to neutralize undertones with color on so it'd be on a level 6 taking it to a level 8, correct? I just want to make sure because perfect. Okay. I don't want to give you advice for a completely different situation. So if we are here on a level 8 um or a level 6, that dark blonde is going to expose those orange and gold tones, but as we work our way to a level 8, we start to see more yellow and gold. So personally, I would assess per canvas what those underlying tones are that you're seeing. So are you seeing more yellow? Are you seeing more gold? Are you seeing a true orange? If you're seeing more of that remaining orange and gold pigment, then I would absolutely use more of an ash tone. But if you're seeing more of the gold or the yellow gold overall, then I would definitely do more of like the beige or even like if you want to keep some gold, it depends on what your goal is. Like if you're wanting a brighter result, I feel like beige might neutralize out too much and have more of a more like muted result. Can you mix both? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't see why not. Similar to like our 637, it's gold and violet, which cancel each other out most of the time. But since it's 70% gold and 30% violet, when those are mixed together, it gives a really pretty iridescent, like chocolatey vibe. So I feel like if you did beige and ash together, if there's a lot of those orangey gold pigments left over, it should neutralize perfectly while still having a really pretty undertone rather than completely muting everything out and getting almost like ashy, too ashy in a way, too earthy. Um, are you with me on that? Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. And it all depends. Like, feel free, my Instagram, by the way, guys, I'll drop it in the chat. You can totally message me on there if you have any questions for formulation. I'm always willing to help. I usually put formulations on my post as well. I do want to make sure I get to all the questions. We got about 5 minutes left. Um, so demi versus permanent. So demi is going to be ammonia free. Those are our express tones, platinum toners, and HydraGloss. This is going to think of gray blending of toning options that you are going to have last between like 6 to 8 weeks. That you're not going to see a permanent color line as the hair starts to grow out. Like you won't see it's a more translucent result most of the time. Not fully translucent and see-through, but not as opaque as permanent color. So permanent color is it utilizes ammonia with the developer, and that is with higher amounts of developer. So your 10s, your 20s, your 30s, and that's where you're going to see a lot more lift. Whereas demi-permanent does not lift; it is deposit only. And then just let me know if that made sense, Maria, too. I'm gonna drop my at real quick. Super awesome. Yeah, it can get a little confusing. I had somebody earlier say, well, if demi-permanent comes out over time, is it not semi-permanent? I'm like, I see where your brain is, I do, but semi-permanent is not mixed with developer and it doesn't go inside the hair shaft, it just coats the outside, right? Whereas demi-permanent does, since it does have developer, it does swell just a little bit. Or does it lasts longer than that. Um, and let's see. Trying to make sure we went over everything. Okay, we got about 4 minutes left. So if everybody, does anybody have any more questions? Like I said, if you think of anything afterwards, you can totally find me at Instagram. My salon page is a little different on Facebook. It's Euphoria Color Studio. The Pravana Facebook page is the Pro Forum is amazing. So make sure you're on that because people are constantly asking questions. I learn a lot myself in the comments, even after being with Pravana for 8 years. So definitely be sure to add that too. And all of our like stuff on Pravana.com is really helpful too. Super resistant gray hair. I'll try to answer this one really quickly. Um, Pre-pigmenting. Um, so using our NTs, I feel like I've had um, more consistent results with covering grays with our NT or our neutral series. So a lot of times what I'll do, if I find, let's say we just put an N on it and it's not covering as well, adding in gold. So if we do like a 5N plus 6.3, I tend to get better coverage when I do that, or just our like 7NT, 7NT2 colors. I feel like I get um, better results with gray coverage on that. Letting it sit the full 45 minutes as well. Can you mix in with NT? Yeah, absolutely. I don't see a huge point in that unless you're just wanting a little bit more like the coverage of an NT with the cooler result of an N. I could see where that would be beneficial. Straight out of the tube pre-pigmenting, yes. Where do we reach you? Oh, if you need me, it's in the chat where it should say BS and it should say at Color Be Happy. And that is for Instagram. Yes, thank you, Sam. Um, yes, and then afterwards you reapply it with your mixed formula of your permanent color and your developer. Let's see. Perfect. Well, we're at the last 2 minutes, and I appreciate you guys, especially. Oh, thank you. Before anything before that, repeat address. You should be able to see it. Where it says at Color Be Happy, like right above your message, where it says Pravana EDU. It should be able to see me on there on Instagram. Um, but yeah, yes. Thank you guys so much. I know Mondays are hard. As a fellow stylist, I get it. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to me yap and stutter and rave about all the things that I love. So I just really appreciate that. And I hope to see you next time that I'm on here. And yeah, if you need me, I'll be here. Thank you guys.